I think the other thing about this, which is now we're going to really piss off some people, is the whole prenuptial agreement discussion here. Right?
Yeah, so I guess like we can talk about the finances because prenups go into that, but also like we kind of talked about it with the 50-50, but the, separate bank accounts and things like that too. And even if a man is leading and he has all the money and he's, handling that, but he's like, my wife, though, she'll spend all the money.
Right.
How men can help their wives with that and, what they should be doing in that situation too.
Right.
So, I guess we'll go into we'll start with the prenup.
Okay.
First,
so
since I know you're excited.
Yeah. So the question everyone had asked me, being John Bulldog mindset, was, of course, you got a prenup, right? Like, you have some money, you've already been through a divorce, right? Did you get a prenup? And my answer is no, I did not. And did you ask me to get a prenup? Did you? Yeah, exactly. Did you ask me to get a prenup?
No.
Did you topic even come up? Did you even say that you'd or did you ask me not to get a prenup? That's
no.
Right. Did the topic even come up?
No.
Because a lot of guys were like, oh, well, she must have convinced you to not get a prenup. And no, not at all. I made that decision myself, and I'll tell you why. Okay? Because I've been through divorce before. I already have got my assets cut in half before, right? Recently. Well, not, but, recently enough that I didn't forget it. And the thing about that is that I went into this fully trusting you, knowing that I'm all into this. I'm committed to this thing. Yeah, someone might say it makes logical sense. I mean, no matter how you feel now, you don't know how you're going to feel 20 years from later. You don't know what she's going to do, all of these excuses, or what if something happens? What if she cheats on you? What if all these, what if she changes, right? People ask those things. But I wouldn't have gotten married if I wasn't willing to make 100% bet. And if I'm going to bet with my life, I'm going to bet with all my money too. I bet it all, right? Mm-hmm. Because I didn't want to have, and someone could say, well, yeah, John, it still makes sense. Even if you believe all that stuff, why not just have the paper just in case that you're completely wrong? And the answer is because then you're not completely in, right? Because if I'm, on the
another John analogy coming up.
It's coming. You knew it's coming. If I'm on the tightrope and I got my little pole and I'm walking across the tightrope, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a net underneath me, am I all in on the tightrope? No, I'm not. But if there's no net and if I fall, I'm falling to my death, I got to be real serious to walk across that tightrope, right? That's true. That's the thing is like, and I'm not saying to not get a prenup. What I'm saying is don't get married. What I'm saying is if you're feeling like you need to get a prenup for any reason at all, then just don't get married. Live together, whatever you want to do, but don't make the vow until death do you part.
Right.
If that's not the vow you're making. Because, and the thing is, like, you might think there's no harm in it, but the harm is psychologically, there's the net. Psychologically, right. You're not going to be full into it because there is a way to get out. There's something that you're not completely ruined. But if you're fully 100% into it, then when you do get into that conflict and you are thinking about saying the D word or, you have second thoughts because you're like, no, I'm fully into this thing. There is no alternative. There is no, what if she changes? What if she turns like it? And so you got to also evaluate your partner and say, hey, this is worth taking any risk. I would bet everything I have on you. And I will. And I do bet everything that I have on you because I love you and I trust you 1 billion%.
Right. I agree with that. And so, and I guess too, another point we made, just like briefly throw it in, is that I think men do have to invest 100% like that and not do the prenup thing because that's what they really focus on a lot. And what a woman is investing is like biologically, like her body, being able to have children, bringing children into the world. And she's trusting you to be a good father and provider and husband while you guys raise a family. So it is like the trade-off, right? Like normally men are getting women who are, you know, younger and they can have kids and then they're having kids with this person. And, you know, that's an investment that a woman is making. And same with like a man, that if he can't put all of his money into a conjoined bank account with the one person that he's supposed to trust, then what is he doing? Right,
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, you can say that, you know, along those lines, that a man who made a wrong choice or he could start his life over again and have a family later in life. A woman really can't do that. Like by that time, she may not be able to have kids anymore. You know, a guy can have kids when he's 50 if he wants to, 60 years old if he wants to. Maybe not the best idea, but he could do it. You know what I mean? A woman, her youth will be gone. Like that.
Well, and it's harder for her to date when she has a kid too, for multiple reasons.
So she is taking a significant risk. It kind of comes back to that first episode. But the whole point of it is that you are thinking in terms of being one.
Right.
And so if you're thinking prenup, that's not thinking in terms of being one. That's
same with the separate bank accounts or like, you know, hidden bank accounts. If, you know, if this doesn't work out, well, at least I got my bank account that I didn't put all my money into our joined one, you know, like, I don't know. It's just so weird to me.
And not to name names, but did some women tell you to have a separate bank account? It's like, just in case you know, don't quit your job, hon, or whatever. You know, it's like, don't, make sure you have some money stat when he gives you, you know, $200, take 100 and put it in.
That's wrong. But and people do say that. And you know what? It has become the normalized thing, especially among women.
Right.
Because, you know, they're kind of hesitant towards men, but at the same time, they also don't want to be like left high and dry if they do get a divorce. And then, you know, because I also know some women who are going through a divorce and the guy's dragging it out and he's like trying to, you know, get 50-50 everything down to like the table salt shaker. So it's like, you know, it's complicated. And I guess the biggest thing too is just knowing who you're marrying. And I'm not saying that like things don't change and people don't change and situations don't come up that you weren't expecting to happen. But like you said, you have to invest 100%. You have to accept the consequences. If you accepted the contract of marriage, which is becoming one, which people have forgotten, then you have to accept the consequences. You have to accept that your husband might drag out the divorce for 500 years because he wants to be petty. Or same with wife, or, you know, like that you're going to lose half of your stuff or whatever. Well, like you have to accept that.
Right. But you should expect that that's not going to happen because you're trusting. Exactly.
That's the main thing. It's like, if you're really thinking about it becoming one and trusting that person 100%, you're not worried about those things. But I'm just saying for the people who are like, well, what if this happens? You know, like, because some crazy things do happen. But the actual answer is that you have to suffer the consequences of the choices that you made. Like, you can't have an actual good marriage if you're constantly setting up all these things behind the scenes of if you guys do get a divorce. Like you can't be doomsday preparing for a divorce and have the fulfilling relationship and marriage that you want. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Is like you can't be having all this like preparations and then have this happy-go-lucky, totally one union. It's just not possible.
And neither people can do it, right? Just like, you know, the guy can't get a prenup or a woman shouldn't get a prenup either. And then the woman, if we're talking traditional roles, she shouldn't be squirreling away money into a separate account of just in case, or like, oh, I can't quit my job because then I won't have any skills and I won't, you know, if I get left high and dry. It's like, those are valid concerns. They are. However, if you have those concerns, don't get married. Like, or you're going to take the risk and say, look, I trust this man enough that I'm willing to, like, whatever ends up happening to me, I accept it. And that's, which is what you're saying. Better than